NATO-Russia relations have been strained in recent years due to a range of issues, including Russia's annexation of Crimea, its military intervention in Syria, and its use of hybrid warfare tactics to interfere in the politics of neighboring countries. In this analysis, we will examine the current state of NATO-Russia relations and what the future may hold. Current state of NATO-Russia relations. The current state of NATO-Russia relations can be described as tense and confrontational. There have been a number of incidents in recent years that have contributed to this atmosphere, including 1. Annexation of Crimea. Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 was a major escalation in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and it drew condemnation from NATO and other Western countries. Military intervention in Syria. Russia's military intervention in Syria in 2015 was seen as a challenge to Western influence in the region, and it has contributed to a growing sense of competition between Russia and the West. Hybrid warfare. Russia's use of hybrid warfare tactics, including cyber operations, disinformation campaigns, and political subversion, has contributed to a sense of insecurity among NATO member states and other Western countries. Military buildup. Russia's military buildup along its western border has raised concerns among NATO member states about potential aggression and has led to an increase in military exercises and deployments in the region. What's next? The future of NATO-Russia relations is uncertain, and there are a number of factors that will shape the trajectory of this relationship in the coming years. Some of the key factors to consider include 1. Ukraine conflict. The conflict in Ukraine remains a major source of tension between NATO and Russia, and it will likely continue to be a focus of attention in the coming years. The success or failure of diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict will have a significant impact on the overall relationship between NATO and Russia. Russia relations. The relationship between the United States and Russia will also be an important factor in the future of NATO-Russia relations. The Biden administration has signaled a willingness to engage with Russia on a range of issues, but there are still significant differences between the two countries on key issues like Ukraine, Syria, and NATO expansion. NATO expansion. Russia has been critical of NATO expansion in Eastern Europe, seeing it as a threat to its security. Any further expansion of NATO could further exacerbate tensions between NATO and Russia and contribute to a more confrontational relationship. Economic sanctions. The economic sanctions imposed on Russia by the West in response to its actions in Ukraine and other issues have had a significant impact on the Russian economy. The lifting or continuation of these sanctions will have a major impact on the overall relationship between NATO and Russia. Global issues. There are a number of global issues that will impact the overall relationship between NATO and Russia, including climate change, terrorism, and the rise of China. Cooperation or competition on these issues could either improve or worsen the overall relationship. Analysis. NATO-Russia relations are likely to remain tense and confrontational in the coming years due to a range of factors. The conflict in Ukraine, Russia relations, NATO expansion, economic sanctions, and global issues will all shape the trajectory of this relationship. There are, however, opportunities for cooperation between NATO and Russia on certain issues, particularly in the area of arms control. Both sides have expressed interest in renewing arms control agreements, particularly with regard to nuclear weapons. This could be an important step towards reducing tensions and building trust between the two sides. In conclusion, the future of NATO-Russia relations is uncertain, but it is likely to remain tense and confrontational in the coming years. The success or failure of diplomatic efforts to resolve the conflict in Ukraine, the outcome of discussions on arms control, and the trajectory of Russia relations will all play a major role in shaping the overall relationship between NATO and Russia. It will be important for both sides to engage in constructive dialogue and to find common ground on issues of mutual interest, while also being prepared to address areas of disagreement and potential conflict. Ultimately, the stakes are too high to allow tensions to continue to escalate, and a more constructive and cooperative relationship between NATO and Russia is in the interest of both sides and the broader international community.